Hello, my friends. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the autosomal DNA results, predicted phenotype, traits, and the GED match results of an Irish Neolithic farmer from Ireland. So, this individual resembles other Neolithic farmers from Europe and Neolithic farmers from Anatolia. Let's see the mitochondrial lineage here is T2, and the Y DNA here is actually really exotic. The Y DNA here is H2M, very exotic Y DNA, very exotic lineage. The time period this individual lived in is 37 to 33 centuries before the Common Era, which is the middle Neolithic period in Ireland. And let's see what this individual scores with Eurogenes K13. As you can see, the closest modern groups to this individual are Sardinians, followed by Spanish from Andalusia, Spanish from Aragon, followed by Spanish from Castilla-La Mancha, Spanish from Cantabria, Southwest French, Spanish from Valencia. So it's closest to Sardinians, followed by various Southwest Europeans. If you look at the actual groups that it scores half West Mediterranean, followed by 33% North Atlantic, followed by 11.5% East Mediterranean and 4% Baltic, and then 2.5% Red Sea. So it does actually have a little bit of European hunter-gatherer admixture, hence why it scores a little bit of North Atlantic and Baltic. So it is mostly Anatolian Neolithic farmer, but it does have a little bit of European hunter-gatherer admixture. I think it would be really interesting to see what it scores with a calculator such as MDLP K11. Let's see, MDLP K11E. Let's see this calculator, and definitely I am expecting to see, okay, so we see 65.5% Neolithic, 25% European hunter-gatherer, 6% basal, which is kind of like southern or like the Natufian-like admixture, 3.5% Caucasian hunter-gatherer, which is very inappropriately mislabeled as EHG. It is not EHG. It is more like Caucasian CHG admixture, and 0.7% African, which is, I think, noise in this case. So this person is around 1/4 European hunter-gatherer admixture in total. He does have some European hunter-gatherer admixture. It is not entirely an Anatolian. His ancestry is not entirely Anatolian Neolithic. He does have some European hunter-gatherer admixture in his ancestry. Let's go ahead and see what he scores with Nashakot and see what his appearance is, what he looks like. So it looks like he has brown eye color at 37.6% likelihood, followed by darkest brown eyes at 28, followed by hazel eyes at 14, followed by green eyes. And it looks like he has black hair at 92.7% likelihood. And it looks like he has olive or Mediterranean skin tone, followed by light brown skin. And it looks like for hair texture, he has he has straight hair, followed by wavy hair, followed by curly hair. And he probably does not have kinky hair. For nose shape, it looks like he most likely has Greek nose shape. So he has the predicted phenotype here is Greek nose shape, straight or wavy or curly hair, olive or Mediterranean skin tone, black hair, and brown eyes. Let's see for the coloring related variants found in the file. It looks like out of related variants found relative to pigmentation, for OCA2 region, he only really has these two genotypes that play a role in pigmentation, and this one, which is not that much. Everything else is not found in the file. So if you see 999, for example, that means it's the relevant variation is not found in the file. So he has these genotypes which play a role in the calculation. He has two light color variants here. He does not have any light color variants here. This is not really all that much information to play off to say whether he does or doesn't have a certain eye color, but I am glad that my trait predictor is well made enough to be able to accurately predict an eye color based on this limited information. You will see that, for example, Snipper Free is completely unable to. Let me show you. Snipper Free is unable to classify an individual with such low data. So for Snipper Free says this person has blue eyes. Obviously, it's very unlikely that um, a Neolithic farmer has blue eyes. Neolithic farmer from Ireland. Very, very, very improbable. Right, very, very improbable. Let's see what YSEC says. YSEC. Let's go and check YSEC. Yeah, this is what YSEC says. So YSEC cannot predict eye color. They put sunglasses on him, and YSEC says blonde hair, which is the typical prediction they give you if they can't predict your hair color. Blue eyes, which is the typical prediction they give you if they can't predict your eye color. That's what, and nothing, of course, nothing relevant to what they use to predict phenotype is found, and they don't do imputation, so that's the basic phenotype they give you if they don't know what to give what to predict for you. That's what you get with the YSEC. Very interesting stuff. So, out of all of the tools that predict phenotype, mine is the only tool that is able to predict phenotype with low coverage samples. Mine is the only tool that's capable of actually predicting phenotype with a sample that lacks information with some of the key variations, which is big, very important for ancient samples. So the closest phenotypes are this, which obviously is a lot more believable than whatever YSEC was showing. Followed by this, followed by this. All of these phenotypes are very. If you look at the closest modern phenotype populations that showed up, Sardinians, all of these phenotypes are very typical for Sardinians. Yes, even this one. And the closest mixtures are a mixture half 50% nat plus 50% nat, 50% nat plus 50% nat. I would say this phenotype is not very typical for Sardinians. This is more of an outlier. But once again, you cannot. This sample is kind of low quality, so the ethnic oracle might be not very high quality here because of the low quality of the sample. So keep that in mind. The ethnic oracle itself might be a little bit affected by the low quality of the sample. I mean the ethnic portion of the facial morphology oracle, because there's like there's the facial morphology oracle has like an ethnic portion of it where it tries to match your facial traits to certain ethnicities. So it's like 0.67% sub-Saharan African, 15% Native American, which is actually kind of inaccurate. But this was a really low quality sample, so it makes sense. 0.254%, I think this is East Asian, 21.5% Estonian, 13.26, this is Middle Eastern, I think, 21.17 Western European, 27, this is I think South Asian, and 0, this is Oceanian. So the largest things he's scoring is South Asian. So this makes sense. It makes sense that he's scoring like this group here in the Oracle, and this South Asian group, and this South Asian group in the Oracle as well. It makes sense that he's scoring these South Asian related groups in the Oracle, because the facial morphology Oracle does have some South Asian related stuff in the result. That is because, once again, the file is quite low quality. I typically make videos on higher quality files, but I decided to make a video on this file today because why not? I found it was a pretty interesting file from Ireland. Okay, let's see what he scores for the biomarkers panel. Okay, so it looks like nothing relevant was found for the vitamin D levels. For cholesterol, he's got a below average level of LDL cholesterol, above average level for HDL cholesterol. He's got a above average level for glucose levels. Nothing relevant was found for hemoglobin. He's got a below average level for blood pressure. He's got nothing was found for level of iron in the blood. He's got below average level for sex hormone binding globulin. He's got nothing found for level of red blood cell count in blood. He's got slightly below average number of base pairs for telomere length, so slightly below average lifespan, and he's got slightly below average height for his gender. Very, very interesting. Predisposition to slightly below average height. Let's see the polygenic risk scores. So it looks like nothing was found for hemoglobin in the file, hemoglobin E disease. Nothing was found for migraine. Looks like he's got slight predisposition to lupus, but that's based on 2 SNPs. Nothing was found for gout in the file. Nothing was found for thyroid cancer in the file. Looks like he's got slight predisposition to eczema, but that's based on, I think this is based on 1 SNP. Looks like nothing was found for any of the glaucoma-related stuff in the file. For PCOS, he's got slight predisposition to PCOS. For cataracts, based on 1 SNP, he's got slightly below average odds for cataracts. For age-related macular degeneration, nothing relevant was found in the file. For rheumatoid arthritis, he's got a slight predisposition to rheumatoid arthritis, which is definitely quite interesting. For Tourette's, nothing was found in the file. For epilepsy, nothing was found in the file. For asthma, wow, that's actually very interesting. So for asthma, it says SNP count is 0, but somehow it says he's got above average times the average odds for asthma. So there's some kind of and there is some kind of a glitch here. I gotta fix that. Very interesting. So he's got a above average predisposition to asthma. For leukemia, he's got a below average predisposition to leukemia. For vitiligo, he's got a above average predisposition to vitiligo. He's got a above average predisposition to myopia. Nothing relevant was found for corneal astigmatism. Okay, nothing relevant was found for actually nothing. No risk variants were found. So it looks like probably something was found, but no risk variants were found. And he's got below average predisposition to stroke. He's got slight predisposition to male pattern hair loss, which is definitely quite interesting. Nothing relevant was found for atrial fibrillation. He's got slight below average risk for deep vein thrombosis. He's got slightly below average risk for unipolar depression. He's got slightly above average risk for bipolar type 1. He's got slightly above average risk for schizophrenia. Looks like for type 2 diabetes, he's got slightly above average risk for type 2 diabetes and slightly above average odds for type 1 diabetes. Very interesting. Is this the same number as for asthma? It might be the same. It's the same number as for asthma, actually. Hold on. Let's see. It might be the same number as for asthma. It is the same number as for asthma. So it's just, I think it's just showing the HLA number for both type 1 and for asthma. But it's printing 0 for the SNP count for both, which is definitely very interesting. It should be printing the HLA count for type 1 and for asthma. It should be printing the count of the alleles found for the HLA gene, the number of the variations found for the HLA gene, not for the trait. But it's printing 0 for some reason, which is really weird. Okay, nothing relevant was found for Alzheimer's. It's showing above average odds for multiple sclerosis. Okay. 2 risk variants for breast cancer out of 2. Okay. Unfortunate. No risk variants for testicular cancer. 0 out of 2 for testicular cancer. Quite good. No risk variants for celiac disease. Nothing was found for celiac disease. No risk variants for GSS. Pretty good. No risk variants for Crohn's. I think nothing was found here. Nothing was found for Riefenstein's. Nothing was found for Parkinson's. No risk variants for Parkinson's. No risk variants for Gilbert's syndrome. No risk variants for basal cell carcinoma. No risk variants for Peutz-Jeghers. No risk variants for hypopastasia. No risk variants for GCD. No risk variants for Waardenburg syndrome. 6 risk variants for allergies out of 8 total, which is kind of high. Typically, you don't score this many. So there's definitely a little bit of a predisposition to allergies. But like still, it's a very low quality file. You would typically score like 26 out of 40 total and not 6 out of 8 total. And 0 out of 6 for familiar hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Okay, pretty good. No risk variance for irritable bowel syndrome. No risk variance for congenital insensitivity to pain. No risk variance for Brugada syndrome. No risk variance for any of the types of Treacher-Collins syndrome. No risk variance for Pfeiffer syndrome. No risk variance for familiar thoracic aortic syndrome. No risk variance for myosclerosis. No risk variance for Hirschsprung disease. No risk variance for Fabry disease. No risk variance for Li-Fraumeni. Okay, pretty good. The only things I noticed a bug. It's the bug with type 1 diabetes, and it's the bug with asthma. It's showing 0 for this in P count, but it's not really 0. It shouldn't be showing 0 for this in P count. It should be showing something else. Well, okay. Um, let's see the monogenic traits and find out what we see here. It looks like he has a GG here, which is a common genotype associated with shorter sleep duration. In PR and P gene panel, it looks like he does not have any pathogenic variants here. Pretty good. For WODIOR versus WODIR, looks like nothing relevant was found, so we can't really determine that. For dopamine D2 receptors, it looks like he definitely has a predisposition to higher number of dopamine D2 receptor sites. Pretty good. At least there is some information here that we can go off here. There is actually 2 relevant variations here that we can go off here. Pretty good. Pretty good that there's these 2 variations in the DRD2 gene. And nothing relevant for 5-HT. He does have these 3 genotypes that also have to do with mental health, so let's go over them. He has this genotype which leads to lower odds of depression. He has this genotype which leads to slightly lower odds of bipolar and schizophrenia, but it doesn't play a role in polygenic risk scores. And he has homozygous major allele in ADCY2, which leads to a decreased risk of bipolar. For autism, he looks like he has a predisposition to higher odds of autism. Okay. For OXTR and empathy gene, it looks like he has a predisposition to lower odds of empathy based on these 2 genotypes in OXTR. Okay, for cardiovascular disease panel, looks like, wow, this is all messed up. This is looking very messed up because I mean, the file just doesn't have any information whatsoever. So like the um, the formatting of the page is completely messed up. So it looks like he has a predisposition to intermediate or lower odds of cardiovascular issues, and intermediate or lower odds of cardiovascular issues is pretty good, pretty typical stuff. He's got this genotype which leads to increased risk of myopia. For facial morphology panel, 2 genotypes that were found in total. One of them is European genotype in EDAR, which is typical for Europeans, and another one is GG insertion of PAX3, which leads to decreased odds of protruding nasal bridge and more upturned nose shape. Does not have micropenis, really good to see. And he's got European genotype in EDAR. Well, I'm repeating myself here. For sex hormone panel, he's got this genotype right here, which leads to lower levels of testosterone. Oh, ouch. Lower levels of testosterone. That's an ouch. For estradiol and estrogen, he's got a gene in this variation, which leads to slightly lower than average levels of estradiol, which is estrogen, and another genotype for lower levels of estradiol or estrogen. Okay. No risk variance for pain hypersensitivity out of 2 total in SCN9A. Okay, he has a genotype that predisposes him to being slightly more likely to gain weight if taking Zyprexa. Nothing relevant was found for albinism and typical traits panel. For familiar Mediterranean fever, also nothing relevant was found. For alcoholism panel, looks like his risk score for alcoholism is essentially average. MTHFR panel, pretty typical stuff. For breast cancer, the cancers panel, he's got 2 risk variants for breast cancer in this variation of BRC1A, BRCA1. For leukemia, he does not have any risk variants for leukemia. For rare diseases and traits panel, it looks like he has, let's see, no risk variants for panic disorder, no risk variants for alkaptonuria mutation, no risk variants for major sallow disease mutation, no risk variants for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, no holoprosencephaly, no risk variants for rheumatoid arthritis, no risk variants for aspirin-induced asthma. Okay, for APOB, 2 risk variants for APOB for familiar hyperlichocholestomia out of 2 total. And he's got 2 genotypes for high risk of male pattern baldness. Quite interesting. For HLA gene panel, there's nothing much to talk about here. So it looks like there was nothing found for HLA gene panel. Wow. Okay, I understand now. I understand now why it was showing zero. It really was zero. It really was zero. Yeah, it was zero for recent piece. I was confused why was it zero? It was zero. Yeah. It's just it has to do with calculation. It has to do with how it's calculated. Yeah. There is no bug. Yeah. It really was zero. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense now. Because the way the HLA score is calculated, there is a little bit more weight to the intermediate. Like if you score more for the intermediate, it's more than one. It's like 1.3 something, and if you score highest, it's even more than two. It's 3 point something. To the risk score. Like it's calculated in a very interesting way. Like if you score highest odds for autoimmune disease, it's the weight for that. The weight contributes to your score for asthma, and like for type 1 diabetes, it's much more than one. So it makes sense why it's more than one for the score. So I was confused why it says that the S&P count is zero, but I understand now why it's zero, because this person really doesn't have anything for the HLA gene, because you can see the distribution here is equal for all the categories. The S&P count really is zero. It makes sense now. I was confused why it was zero. Now I understand why. MTRR gene panel, no risk clearance for intracellular colobid metabolism. Homocystinuria, no risk clearance found in file, and lower homocysteine levels. Okay, pretty good. So quite healthy result, predisposition to lower homocysteine levels. Definitely really good. For thyroid cancer panel, nothing relevant was found. For muscular dystrophy myopathies, no risk clearance for muscular dystrophy myopathies, no risk clearance for ADL either. Color blindness panel, no risk clearance in any of the genes OPN1 MW or OPN1 SW. FTO gene panel, nothing relevant for FTO was found, or FPK, or any other genes implicated for obesity. For the syncope panel, no SNPs were found. For biotraits panel, he's got the gene type here, which leads to a lower risk of hypertension or obesity, and less weight gain when chicken was treated with clozapine. Uh, for DVT panel, there's only this one genotype, which leads to lower risk of deep vein thrombosis. For blood group panel, there's only really one genotype, which leads to lower odds of blood type AB. So what can we know about this sample in terms of the blood type? It's probably not blood type AB, but do we really know that it's blood type O or A or even B? We don't really know that. We don't really know that for sure. The blood type likelihood distribution here says it's most likely O or A, but of course of course we don't really know that for sure. It's probably not AB though. You're right, probably not AB. But anyway, as you can see, it's not a very high quality file. It's certainly you know kind of not a very high quality file. But I was curious to find out more and do some research and cover this sample. I didn't show you the OCA2 and HERC2 eye color results, by the way. So let's look at that. So if you only take into account OCA2 and HERC2 genotypes, you arrive in this kind of a result for this individual. OCA2 and HERC2 eye color prediction for this sample looks like this. OCA2 and HERC2 eye color results. So it looks like brown eyes at 25%, and hazel eyes at 19, followed by, what is it, green? Or no, it's dark brown, followed by dark brown, followed by, I think, green, followed by blue eyes with an amber center, followed by blue. So this is the prediction for eye color if you only take into account OCA2 and HERC2 genotype. Pretty cool stuff to consider. Well, if you want to take a look at the results with Trait Predictor for a high quality MyHeritage file, a modern individual uh, with a high quality MyHeritage file, you can actually look in the description of this video. There will be link to my own results. You can look what I score with my own MyHeritage file with my own Trait Predictor. You can see what I score, and you can sort of see what a modern results with MyHeritage looks like. A actual high quality result with a MyHeritage file looks very different from this. There's going to be much more information. There's going to be much more to talk about, much more content generated. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. I sure hope you enjoyed the video. Do check out my tool that I used to generate this content. It is going to be in the description of the video. It is currently $13 on itch, but very soon it is going to be a lot more expensive. And it works with any major file format, such as MyHeritage, 23andMe, Ancestry, any of the major file formats it will work with. And if you really want to generate a health and traits report for yourself, this is the tool that for yourself and for your friends and for your family, anybody you want to um, generate the traits and health report for. This is definitely the tool to go with. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe.